The relationship between National Security Minister John Saldivar and the accused murderer William Mason is one of the highlights in this case, and with that has come speculations that there may be a cover-up of some sorts. PUP party leader John Briceño spoke of the financial contributions received by Saldivar.
Our reliable information says that the chief suspect, William Mason, who is also known as Danny and as Ted Ouellette or Ramesh Ouellette, a Guyanese national, also considered to have Canadian nationality and who for a while lived in the United States and who is known to be involved in all kinds of unsavory and seedy operations, enjoyed friendships and relationships with the most senior of cabinet ministers in our country. According to none other than the Minister of National Security, last year around September, the police provided him with such damaging information on Mr. Mason that it forced him to sever all ties to Mr. Mason. Minister Saldivar said that since then he has had absolutely no contact with the accused. Minister Saldivar confessed that Mr. Mason had helped to sponsor his very expensive Belmopan Bandits semi-pro football team, but insisted, quote, he has never contributed to my political campaign, end of quote. We won't argue with National Security Minister Saldivar whether financing his semi-pro team isn't part and parcel of financing his political campaign. But in September of last year, both the police and Minister Saldivar had an opportunity to bring in Mr. Mason for questioning and possible arrest and expulsion from Belize, and they didn't. If they had, we submit, Pastor Lucas would probably be alive today.
The blame in this entire investigation is not solely being placed on the lap of John Saldivar, but the PUP has also rendered some blame for the Immigration Minister Godwin Hulse.
While Minister Saldivar must answer many questions about how this man was able to get multiple gun licenses, even when a simple Google search turned up so much that brings his character into question, Immigration Minister Godwin Hulse also has a lot more explaining to do. On Monday, Minister Hulse blamed Vital Statistics for the fact that foreigners are able to get bogus certificates and eventually end up with Belizean passports. The question is, what has the government done to ensure that these perennial violations and acts of corruption are stopped? If William Mason, a man who is the lead suspect in the cutting off of the head of a Belizean pastor, could get a bogus birth certificate, who is to say whether other dangerous international criminals and terrorists haven't been able to do the same and eventually get Belizean passports?
Briceño goes on to remind the media and the public of the past investigations that had been thwarted.
What we have seen in the PNR passport scandal and the Edmond Castro visa scandal has convinced us that an impartial investigation is impossible under the circumstances. In the case of the PNR scandal, the Commissioner of Police had to be hauled to the Supreme Court, and the Chief Justice had to issue a mandamus order for him to do his job and investigate PNR, a sacked Minister of State. The Commissioner never did, and we all know the outcome of that case. To date, we are yet to hear from the officer who is in charge of the Belmopan Command and who was the person who was supposed to be in charge of the case from the onset. A life has been lost here in a most gruesome and heinous manner. No loss of life is trivial, but the way Pastor Lucas was viciously murdered and the people connected to this case demands thorough scrutiny of the police minister and several senior members of the police department. In light of this, I call on the Prime Minister to urgently remove the Minister of Police from his post. We believe he can no longer be expected to preside impartially and without fear or favor over the Ministry of National Security, plus his record with respect to keeping Belizeans safe is far from outstanding. While at it, the head of the GSU should be made to stand down. His character is now questionable, and also the Minister of Youth, Education and Youth, by his imprudent association to an international con artist, should at the very least be publicly reprimanded. And now we are told that the Prime Minister admitted that Minister Papa Mena has accepted a donation of $10,000 from Mr. Mason.